Welcome to the imagination of the master of macabre, Clive Barker, as we take a look at my second favorite horror film of all time, Lord of Illusions. New York private detective Harry D'Amour comes to Los Angeles on a routine case when he finds himself in the world between illusion and true magic. When the world's greatest illusionist, Philip Swan, is killed in a graphic onstage accident, Harry is driven to discover the truth behind it. Hired by Swan's gorgeous wife Dorothea, Harry delves deep into the secretive world of magic and encounters dangerous foes, including the members of a fanatic cult. He learns that their leader Nix, who could perform real magic and taught Swan to do so as well, is feared to be able to defy the grave that Swan and Dorothea put him in, and will return to exact horrific revenge upon the world. What Harry D'Amour may come to realize is that death is the ultimate illusion. Now when you say the name Clive Barker, most people, they'll think directly to Hellraiser. And I do love those first two Hellraiser films. I think they're spectacular, unbound visions of Barker's imagination. But Lord of Illusions is the kind of film I wish I could make. It is a fantastic, brilliantly done film in my opinion. That I love that Barker takes this magical supernatural horror story and mixes it with detective film noir, and he does such a beautiful, graceful job in doing so. I love this film so dearly because of the fact that this is exactly the type of film I would want to make. And Barker, I think, did a tremendous job. I think this film is a masterpiece for him. And at the center of it is a great character in Harry D'Amour, portrayed by Scott Bakula. Now, D'Amour is a character that Barker has written in several stories before this, and is also written into a brand new novel called The Scarlet Gospels, where he is going up against Pinhead from the Hellraiser franchise, and promises to be a spectacular book that he has been working on for years and years and years. And D'Amour is a character I really like, with Bakula in the role. It's a character that I really wanted to see so much more from over there. There was at one time a television series kind of in development, in talks to happen. I was very excited at that time, but it was a long time ago. Still fascinates me though, because D'Amour is a very interesting character. That he's this guy who is fighting against his nature. He's being pulled so strongly into all these dark, demonic, supernatural type of areas that he is very frightened of, very scared of. He doesn't want to be involved with any of it, but he can't fight his nature. He keeps getting pulled so deeply into it, and it's a fascinating character dynamic there, that you're fighting against your own nature, and your own nature is very, very dark places. And Bakula does a really good job there. He brings a lot of that charming, endearing quality that you've seen in a lot of his really good work, and I think he does a very solid job in this character, making him interesting, a very solid, heroic character. When you start the film following all these other characters, Philip Swan and a couple other people who don't fit that kind of someone you can really put a lot of confidence in that they're going to be a very strong protagonist. So when you get to Harry, he definitely seems like he's got a guy with an edge, but he definitely seems like a man of action, a man who can really handle himself. He's very savvy, very smart, very confident type of guy, and it really just drives forward the whole story. Once you're in there with Harry, the whole thing starts to unfold, and you really start feeling like there's a drive in this film, and he does a fantastic job. I love that he has this great chemistry and everything with Famke Janssen, who one of her first big roles, really, right before GoldenEye happened for her as the Bond girl. She did a fantastic job in this film. And Barker, when he was looking to cast the role of Dorothea, once he saw the headshot of her, he said, "This is the gorgeous woman that I want for this role. She is perfect." And I am a pretty big fan of Kevin J. O'Connor, who I've enjoyed in a lot of lighter fare, but I like that he has such a great dramatic role in this film. That Phil Swan is a guy who's not very confident. He's very creeped out. He's very haunted. He's very scared to death of Nix, because even though Swan is a guy who does have a certain amount of power, magic and everything, he knows that if Nix is a guy who can defy death itself, that there's no limit to what terrors he could unleash upon anyone, because he has the will to do things that Swan never would. So Swan is this guy who is scared to freaking death of him throughout the whole film, and he motivates him to not be a courageous person. He hides out. He tries to run away from it all, while D'Amour is the much more confident guy, driving everyone into that hole, driving them towards that third act of the film, that big climax, that big confrontation, that if Nix is coming back, we have to fight him. And Swan is scared to death of him, and it takes a lot for him to come back from that. And when you got someone like Nix, portrayed by a great actor like Daniel von Bargen, who has such an amazing range. You can see him do amazing comedic work in something like Super Troopers, and see him as Nix in this film, a very dark, evil, sinister, sadistic person who only appears at the beginning and end of the film. But what we see of Nix at the beginning, with this very dark, evil aura around him, and the power that he has and the will to use that power, creates this dark, ominous, foreboding sense the entire film. It runs through it and hangs over it like a dark specter, and it's fantastic because of von Bargen's amazing charismatic performance. That he also has ability to add in that kind of sadistic humor to the role. It's very engaging, it's very fantastic. Just, I love that he's such that dynamic actor, that he can do such a great job in a role like this with limited screen time and create such a impactful impression on an audience. But the character, the villain that runs through the whole film, that's actually there throughout the whole film and active in the plot, is this wonderful character that I absolutely love, called Butterfield. This androgynous, sort of slightly ambiguous but quite obvious character, that he has such a great slinking body language like a serpent, that Barry Sherman does such a great job getting right into the skin of this great character. Just so good, just has such a great presence to him, that when you first see Butterfield in the film, I'm not really sure what to make of this guy. You probably won't take him too seriously, but once you see how absolutely sadistic and lethal and dangerous this guy can be, it creates such a great quality. It's so good. The performance is fantastic, and it's perfectly Clive Barker. It could only really come from Clive Barker to make it such a great, serious role, that put it in someone else's hands, it might go campy or cheesy. Barker keeps it really right on that perfect edge, and Sherman's performance really ties so perfectly into that. I just love this character. If there was nothing else worth a crap in this film, I would love it based just on this character, because it is such a great villain that never gets cheesy, never gets kind of cheap or anything. It's very well developed. All of the characters in this thing are so well fleshed out and developed. They have such a great dimension to them. I just love it. There's so many great performances here, and such greatly crafted characters from Barker's imagination. And that imagination also creates that great, beautiful visions of horror that only Barker could create, because he has that great ability to make such beautiful, macabre imagery, and it's so well displayed in this film, so artistically crafted. He does such a wonderful job directing this film inside and out, and he has some great cinematography too. It just looks great. There's such a great mood and atmosphere into what is created with the cinematography and the visuals in this film. Like, you start out the film in this sort of desolate, decrepit desert landscape, and the Nixon cult stronghold and everything, where there's all these animal bones and this eerie, kind of creepy visions of just dried out death. It starts the film off on the perfect note right from the first frames, and it just moves forward in such great ways. I love how D'Amour is constantly getting all these nightmarish flashes of this demon that he fought in this exorcism before the film's beginning. There's so many great things going on with this film that just creates so much depth of character and horror, and just creates there's so much depth to everything that Barker puts in this thing. Nothing's thin, nothing's cheap, there's no corners cut. It's the fantastic makeup effects, the special makeup effects, and all that kind of stuff created by K&B Effects Group, the masters in their field in the 90s. Absolutely fantastic, top notch, grade A type of stuff. Barker chose the right people every step of the way to create such an amazing, fantastically woven film. And like I said, I love how Barker meshes in that detective film noir atmosphere, that you got Harry D'Amour going through this very dangerous, taut, suspenseful mystery, because he's trying to uncover all these deep, dark, magical secrets that absolutely no one wants uncovered. No one wants to talk about this shit. But Damore's an intelligent enough hero that he can see past all the deceptions, the facades, the walls of spook tactics, all that kind of stuff. He can see past it. Every element of that plot, the magic stuff with Nyx and Swan, all that stuff's fantastic, wonderful, intriguing stuff. And the mystery elements are so well interwoven that you're following Damore. You get that little scene at the beginning where you see how they're sort of defeat Nyx at the start, but you don't really get any answers to anything. You're not really sure exactly what's going on, so you got a little bit of something, but then you're following Damore through this whole mystery, seeing how he figures everything out, and we find out all this stuff through Damore's investigation and everything. Everyone's against him. No one wants him to find out anything, so he has to keep poking and prodding and digging up little things here and there, and it's so greatly done. Like I said, every element of this plot, every character, every little thing is so exquisitely done. I could go on and on and on about this film. I absolutely gushingly love this film so much. You can see it. You can feel it from me. If you've never seen Lord of Illusions, if you like Clive Barker at all, this is the film to see. Lord of Illusions, fantastic, amazing film. Like I said, I think it's a masterpiece. Beyond just being one of my favorite horror films of all time, this is my favorite films of all time, period, regardless of genre. Period. I got nothing else to say, but one more video, people. My favorite horror film of all time is coming up soon. If you watched the other videos, you know there was another John Carpenter film coming up. Post your guesses below. Try to find out what my #1 favorite horror film of all time is from John Carpenter. Stick around. Forever Horror Month concludes shortly.